Good evening. I call to order the Hamilton County Board of County Commissioners regular meeting of April the 15th. Good evening, Madam Commissioners.
Good evening.
Okay. We're missing one right now. I'm sure we'll be there. And we also have among us Jacqueline Paniota, the clerk of our board, and also our county administrator, Jeff Aludo, is there among the people. We're going to start as we always start with silent prayer and a pledge of allegiance. And I would like to say, as we think about a prayer, if we would think about just the recent events of unarmed Black man that was killed just recently. And also there were policemen that were pushed. I think the next day it was. So we think about them, and our thoughts are with their families. So if we could have a silent prayer at this time. Amen. And the Pledge of Allegiance now. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. Our next item of business is approval of the minutes of the previous session. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous session.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas,
Yes.
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse. Yes.
Thank you so much. And so now I have the pleasure of welcoming Mayor Snyder from the city of Norwood. We thank you so much for allowing us to come to your city, even virtually. And so I go through there quite often. It's the second largest city in Hamilton County. So you guys are some big guys doing some great things. So I'm going to allow you, Mayor Snyder, to get started, whoever you'd like to speak.
Well, welcome to the city of Norwood, virtually.
Thank you.
You're coming into my part when you look at my camera, I guess, so, or my screen. So I'm glad to be here, and thank you for the invitation. We have our president of council, Ken Miracle, here, and multiple council members. I know Councilman Geraci, Councilman Thompson, Councilman Gabbard, Councilman Bonzo, Councilman Kelsch are all in attendance. I already said Ken Miracle, our president of council, and then our safety service director, John Murphy, is here also. And if I miss somebody, please jump in there and let me know. But we're pleased to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation.
You're very welcome.
Did you get Councilmember Thompson in there?
Okay,
I'm here.
Who's speaking for? Oh, Thompson, you're speaking.
Yeah, I was just, Mr. Bonzo had asked if I was here, so I just said, yeah.
Okay. Hi.
I think that's just about all of them. I think Councilman John Braden is missing. He had 2 softball games that he was playing in tonight. I told him it looked like rain and he should stay and listen to this, but he wasn't available to attend, and that's about it. We've got great things going on in the city of Norwood. We really do have a lot going on with our streets and repairing our infrastructure. We've got a lot of technical improvements going on. We've upgraded our website, and we're putting a lot of, the no-touch type things that every community is putting in place. We're putting in place. Our police department and fire department have been doing a great job through this COVID, through the COVID challenges. As a city council, we've not been back in our council chambers for quite a while. We are still meeting at the community center. The lower level of the community center is pretty big, and we're able to spread out, but we are very much so ready. I think everybody's ready to get back in there as soon as they lift some restrictions. We'll be heading back to our council chambers. But other than that, this has been a extremely productive council for the city of Norwood. Last year, they passed more ordinances and basically got more, in my opinion, more done in a year of COVID than many other councils have done, and some really good legislation has been passed, and I really appreciate everything they've done to keep the city moving in the right direction. We continue to do better fiscally, financially every year. We finished out the year with a carryover, and we have our 5-year projection shows a carryover every year for the next 5 years. Now, of course, that depends on how the county commissioners treat us, how the state treats us.
Right.
But we've been doing well. We're doing well with our streets programs, and we've been very successful in getting some different grants. The CDBG money, Community Development Block Grant money coming in. We're very pleased with that. And we've got what I consider to be a very bright and promising future when it comes to infrastructure improvements in the city of Norwood. Always challenges. We definitely are the second largest city, and we're an old city within the city. So we always have our challenges. We also, one of the big things is tomorrow we actually close on our new recreation center. We just got it. Okay, well, it's an older recreation center, but it is new to us, and that's the YMCA building here in Cincinnati, in Norwood, that we close on. So we're going to be able to add some amenities to our community and really do so much more, provide so much more for our neighbors, and so we're real pleased with that.
That's awesome.
If President Miracle, if you want to talk for a minute, or I don't know if you give us, Ms. Councilman or commissioners, do others have a chance to talk?
Yes, absolutely. We want to hear from you.
Any of you Norwood councilmen have anything to say briefly?
I'll jump in real briefly. I'm also really proud that over the last couple of years, we've gotten to pass a couple of resolutions. For the first time in Norwood's history, we recognized Pride Month last year for our citizens, and just recently we recognized Black History Month as an important month for our citizens here in Norwood. So it's nice to see some social progress being made in the city as well.
Great, fantastic. I know you guys have some great development getting ready to get started down in the Montgomery Road area. We approved that and saw those developments also. So I know you're excited about it. As I said, I go through there all the time.
Yeah, you're talking about the mini planning grant that we received to do work on Montgomery Road. And yeah, it's such a critical infrastructure, not just as business goes, but for our community, because if Montgomery Road runs smoothly, if everything's going well there, it pulls vehicles off of the back street, so it has a traffic calming effect. And then of course the income from all the businesses that are along Montgomery Road is critically important to us. We're very blessed now to have more of a diverse tax base. And years ago we had one big behemoth that sat in there, and it was tough when it disappeared. But we have done well in diversifying our tax base. We continue on brownfield improvements. We have the huge Factory 52, Factory 52 coming in, which is a big development going on at the old playing card site. So there's quite a bit going on. It's moving and shaking here.
Yeah, I think the mayor summed it up very well. I know one of the threats, that I kind of see just as a council member is, potentially with the earnings tax, essentially with, right now we have that pandemic kind of relief where, even if somebody is working from home, if they were working in the office, right, they still pay earnings tax to the city. So I know the city of Cincinnati is worried about the same thing. So we're kind of interested in that just to see where that goes. And, hopefully we can just, with Cincinnati and Norwood, we can get all of our employees back into the offices. It's safe to do so.
Great.
Yeah, I think we'd be kind of amiss too if we didn't kind of mention some of the park renovations and park update work that we're doing as well. We've already kind of totally revitalized one park in Norwood, and we're working on another, which is one of our larger ones. And we have right now it's a 5-year plan to kind of hit every park in Norwood to kind of bring them back up to speed, because they've been kind of neglected for quite some time.
Great. That's exciting.
We have a lot of park space in Norwood, much like all of Cincinnati and Hamilton County. We've always valued our parks, But Norwood has a lot of parks and playgrounds for a 3 square mile radius. We've got like 13 different parks. And then of course, we're attached to the Walston Way. So that's been a great amenity added to our community, although it's right on the edge. We're still claiming it. I close an eye because we're claiming it, you know. But we have some great parkland. We have a lot of, I mean, Millcrest, the Millcrest upper and lower, and then Waterworks, where our Shea Stadium, where the football stadium is, and multiple baseball fields, and all of them are, they're a lot to maintain. But Councilman Kelch is absolutely right. We're putting a lot of efforts into improving our parks. Again, an amenity that keeps people living in the city of Norwood. We love to say, you know, raise your family here because we've got so much to offer.
Anyone else? Okay, well, at this time, I'd like to open it up to our commissioners. Vice President Reese, if you'd like to make some comments, you're certainly welcome to do so.
Yes, thank you. It's exciting to be in Norwood by Zoom. I was just physically in Norwood. I'm always in Norwood, spending a lot of money there. And today we have a clinic that obviously at the Centos, but also our health commissioner has one at the Hamilton County Board of Elections. And one of the things that today we had our first walk up where you didn't need an appointment, and it went really well. And I did the walk up, so I'm still rotating my arm here. But I do want to also thank you all, your health department, which also has worked collectively with our public health. So I wanted to reiterate that. And it's just been great. I had an opportunity to represent Norwood when I briefly one of my terms as a state representative, and got a chance to work with the police and the fire. And at that time they were cutting local government funds. So we were fighting against that. So it's just great to see all the work that you're doing, continue to do in Norwood. And I'm happy to continue that work with you as a county commissioner. I also want to reiterate for those who are watching, we're doing a lot with small businesses and trying to help people in these really tough times of COVID-19 economically. And I am leading the COVID-19 Economic Relief and Recovery Task Force. So if there's anyone that might be on the verge of eviction or a small business that needs help to keep going, they can go to our website, 513relief.org, or they can call 946-1000. So I just wanted to make sure that is out there for the residents of Norwood as well, that we do have help available for you. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you all for hosting us. I wish we were in person, but as we've all said, we spent a lot of time in Norwood. I mean, the Board of Elections is in Norwood, so thank you for that partnership. It's been really fantastic and been a great thing, I think, for the residents and voters of Hamilton County to have that access point that's so central to the county. And now, as Commissioner Reese said, I too got my shot in Norwood. So it was a good experience. And now you can vote and vax at the same time. So you got it all going on, obviously. And I do want to also thank you for your partnership. We've got a partnership through 911 with Norwood, the LEAD initiative, the pre-arrest diversion. We've got a partnership with Norwood on that one. So you guys, I'm glad to hear some of the things that you are most proud of by way of infrastructure and some of the progressive policies. We too are proud of the partnership we have with you. So thank you so much, and we look forward to continuing the partnership.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I point out one other thing? We just
Sure.
started our emergency operations plan review and update, and we are utilizing Hamilton County's emergency operations group to work with us on that. They have the templates, they have the county plan, and that's going to be, I know just from looking over the website how really putting together the fundamentals and helping municipalities like Norwood work to make sure that our Hamilton County plan all works together is really helpful. So we're taking advantage of that opportunity too. So we've taken advantage of a lot of what Hamilton County offers to municipalities like this.
Yeah.
We're very thankful.
That's great.
And as you had said earlier, the CDBG money that you've used, there will be more monies coming down. So I know you'll be keeping your ear to the ground as it relates to that. So I don't have anything else. I just really am really happy about the council members who joined in. We usually just have the mayor or the administrator. So I thank you for allowing us to see your faces and to hear about what all that you're doing in Norwood as it continues to grow and get even better. So thank you so much. You're welcome to stay on. We're not going to hold it against you if you don't want to, but thank you guys so much for allowing us to come to your city.
If I might bring one thing up, it might be of help for this group. When I retired as the acting police chief in 2000, we had basically a white male police department. I can proudly say now we have 7 females officers, one of which is coming out of the academy. We have Asian American police officer, and we have 2 Latino American police officers. We will be casting a wide net, as the mayor said last week, to get more of a diverse candidates. Of course, in this climate of policing and fire, you know, it used to be thousands would take Cincinnati's test. I don't know how many they get now. Less and less people are interested in the job. And it's critical at this point that we do cast a wide net of the many other departments hiring right now and diversify our department. But we only do that if the people will show up and take the test and, of course, pass the test. We've moved forward in other areas in employment in our city, other minorities in key jobs, but they're here because they applied and we accepted their application and their credentials, and we're moving the city forward in that regard. So I'm proud of that. I hope to continue that, but our civil service commission are the ones that have to move that ball forward. And with the mayor's help and council in mind, we will do that. And we just hope the candidates take the test and we can improve even more than where we are from today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy, and thank you for bringing up that new information. And I always say we do better if we know better. And so if we all do it together as it relates to the inclusion, we'll make it happen. All right. Vice President Reese, looked like you wanted to say something. No? No, she said no. Okay. Okay. So we're all, the whole county is looking at diversity and inclusion. So thank you for including that. So, okay. Thank you all. And we're going
Thank
to
you.
with, yes, Commissioner Dreehouse.
Thank you. Just saying thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for having us.
All righty. So how many, the mayor left, but how many are on your council?
We have 7 council members.
Okay, I thought it was 7.
It's
Okay. 'Cause
one for each of the ward in the city of Norwood and 3 at-large members.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. All right, we'll move forward. And we have some exciting things getting ready to happen right now. We have a presentation. We're going to have Commissioner Dreehouse is going to lead the presentations. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. So we are joined by members of the Commission on Women and Girls. And so I'm going to ask them all to turn their cameras on so that we can see them. There they are. So thank you for hosting this commission. I'm going to be super brief because I want them to speak. But I want to welcome all of them to our meeting and thank the commissioners. This year has been virtual for us, which has been very challenging, but the work continued and they all hung in there. And I am personally grateful for the commitment to the work that we have done. So thank you, big thank you to the Commission on Women and Girls. We also had a steering committee consisting of Jenny Brady, Rena Saperstein, Jen Moore, Jackie O'Connell, and a special big shout out to Fatima Ba, my administrative assistant with whom we could not have done this without Fatima. Just as a precursor, we established as a commission, the Commission on Women and Girls in 2017, and we have had annual reports come forward in the years following. And so that's what tonight is all about, is having the recommendations come forward to the commission for our consideration. You each should have the report in front of you. I delivered hard copies today. Don't know if you got them. We also delivered them via email, and there are 5 resolutions that accompanied the report. And so I hope you have those in front of you. And before we get off this page, I do also want to thank the many, many community partners that assisted us with the work. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Jen Moore, and she's going to give a little bit of background.
Good evening. Good evening, Commissioner Dumas, Reese, and Driehaus. I want to first thank you all for the opportunity to join you for tonight's meeting in Norwood virtually. Of course, my name is Jennifer Moore, and I serve on the task force and then alongside 19 other dynamic women and girls who make up the Hamilton County Commission on Women and Girls. The creation of the Hamilton County Commission on Women and Girls in 2017 by Commissioner Driehaus was another step in the movement to really shine a light on gender inequalities by advocating for the voices of women and girls in Hamilton County. In our first 2 years, we worked together to address gender disparities and really enact sustainable changes through recommendations and partnerships with civic organizations, community partners, and local government entities such as the Board of County Commissioners. But little did we know, in 2020, we would be faced with a global health crisis that would really change our way of life. Much like many people, businesses, and organizations, the work that we did moved virtually with engaging discussions on how we could continue the work that we started while also responding to our present reality. Over the course of the past year, we've advocated for policy support at the state and federal level, worked to develop a new logo that conveyed the diversity of the board, partnered with the Danish Girls Cincinnati, collaborated with community stakeholders, and last but certainly not least, and critically important, we created a powerful PSA that spoke to some of the challenges that women and girls were facing due to the pandemic and offered support and resources. Our virtual engagement took on new forms as we completed numerous hours of research and discussions from behind screens. Today, members of the commission will proudly share our work that we completed on initiatives related to student homelessness, pay equity, access to menstrual products, and gender-based violence. Women continue to face unprecedented challenges in many facets of life. By focusing on dismantling barriers, providing support, improving the economic position of women and girls, we hope to empower women and girls across the country to reach their highest potential. I will now introduce Yasmin Porter, who will begin our presentations with the Health and Self-Identity Subcommittee. Thank you.
Jennifer, as you mentioned, my name is Yasmin Porter, and I'm a member of the Health and Self-Identity Subcommittee. And this year, we researched 2 initiatives, including promoting equitable access to menstrual education and products for people who menstruate in Hamilton County, as well as increasing simplification and communication about access to mental health resources. The members of the subcommittee this year included Andrea Bertels, Sam Janicki, Alexis Knobloch, Jennifer Moore, Yasmin Porter, and Mary Weinberg. So to focus a little bit more on menstrual equity, we found that equitable access to menstrual products isn't just a matter of public health, but actually has long-term implications for education and self-esteem. And a 2019 study found that more than 4 in 5 US students, or 84% of them, have either missed class time or know someone who has, just due to the fact that they didn't have access to menstrual products. And 1 in 5 US teens struggle to afford period products or haven't been able to purchase them. People who haven't been able to afford menstrual products report either using products longer than is safe, which leads to things like toxic shock syndrome, which can come from leaving in a tampon too long, or having to use products like paper towels, rags, or their children's diapers to suffice. We heard from students in Hamilton County schools that even when products are available from teachers or in nurses' offices, there's often stigma and shame associated with having to ask for products when they are needed. And this type of shame and embarrassment can have long-lasting impacts as well that lead into adulthood. We spoke with women who still can point to a specific moment as a student when they remembered getting their own period for the first time, when they didn't expect it and didn't have access to products, and how that made them feel so ashamed. We want all menstruators to feel empowered, safe, and confident about having their period. And with that, I will hand it over to my fellow subcommittee member, Sam Janicki, who will talk a little bit more about our mental health initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Yasmin. So as she mentioned, our second initiative regards mental health. As we know that mental health stress has increased substantially during the COVID-19 pandemic due to isolation, loss, fear, anxiety, and difficulties of online education. In the Greater Cincinnati COVID-19 Health Issues Survey, 32% of adults said their mental health had gotten worse during the COVID-19 pandemic, and young adults and women specifically reported even higher declines at 40% and 39% respectively. Alongside that increased strain on mental health due to COVID-19, we had also found that generational gaps and stigmas still exist between parents and students about seeking mental health support. We were told about scenarios where schools or administrators actually did reach out to parents sharing that their child needed mental health support, and parents didn't agree or didn't act because of their own stigmas associated with mental health, leaving the student with little support. So through our conversations, interviews, and personal experience, we found that resources are readily available in the county and schools, but people don't always know where to look or find them. And often the resource documents are lengthy, overwhelming, and hard to navigate, making resources simplified and easily accessible would make a big difference to promote mental health equity. And I'll hand the floor to Andrea Bertels, who will tell you more about our recommendations.
Thank you, Sam. So based on our research and our initiatives, here are our recommendations. The Board of County Commissioners website should have a consistent, easily accessible, straightforward list of mental health resources available on their website with guidance to specific guidance to audiences, and continue to create PSAs like the one from the Commission on Women and Girls to ensure county residents are aware of mental health resources. School districts and public facilities within Hamilton County can institute a program of providing accessible menstrual products at no cost to students and constituents in ways that preserve and protect the dignity of menstruating people. Federal elected officials should look to expand federal policy or assistance to cover menstrual products, since we know that programs like SNAP and WIC those products don't fall under those programs. And State of Ohio elected officials should allocate a portion of the state budget to enable schools and public buildings to be able to offer these menstrual products at no cost. And finally, school districts within Hamilton County should have a similar, consistent, easily accessible, straightforward list of mental health resources available on their website, which is widely communicated to students, teachers, administrators, and parents on a regular basis. And with that, I will hand it to Abigail Murray on the Social Mobility Subcommittee.
Hi, everyone. I'm Abigail Murray.
I'm Claire.
And we're going to be presenting the Social Mobility Committee's final initiative and recommendations. Our subcommittee members are Rena Saperstein, Hannah Boone, Patricia Bruns, Megan Rich, and Sylvia Maloney-Noyce. This year, our initiative is to understand the unique challenges homeless students face and the social services and health networks available to them and their families. We also aim to strengthen the existing connections between students and their homelessness liaisons at their own school districts. So why this initiative? Well, in 2019 alone, more than 2,900 children in Hamilton County schools experienced homelessness. And while this is clearly an extreme issue, and resources for these students are federally required and available, information about the services and support for these students and their families are difficult to find. In addition to this difficulty, the COVID-19 pandemic has prevented the educational community, teachers, administrators, and others from observing the daily well-being or changes that would normally trigger a referral to connect students to critical resources and services. The responsibility has then fallen on the students, who may not know who to ask, may not identify as homeless, or may be embarrassed to ask for help.
What we found through our research is that public schools are required to ensure access to public education, and under the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act, school districts are required to appoint homelessness liaisons responsible for identifying homeless students, ensuring school enrollment and attendance, and providing opportunities for academic success. However, many students are unaware that they are entitled to these resources. We also found that the average age of a person experiencing homelessness in the United States is only 9 years old.
Based on all of this information, our short-term recommendation is to request that Hamilton County Public Schools make information about federally required resources for students experiencing housing instability readily available and accessible on their website. Additionally, this subcommittee seeks to offer schools the support of this commission by amplifying the information the schools have through a Hamilton County Commission centralized website, which would compile specific resources and contact points for each school or district. We would also ask that school administrators share the link to this website with families so that students have this information before they need it.
We aim for at least 50% of Hamilton County public school districts to have homelessness resources and information displayed on an accessible part of their website.
Finally, long-term, our aim is to continue to raise awareness and understanding surrounding student homelessness and to educate key community leaders, elected officials, other potential partners, and the larger community about the unique challenges and struggles facing students experiencing homelessness. Next, I'll hand it over to Pat Bruns, who will read our recommendations.
Our specific recommendations to the Commission this evening are to develop an appropriate format and platform for the homelessness resources and Know Your Rights on the county webpage, to expand families' access to critical information when facing homelessness, and 2, to promote homelessness resources and Know Your Rights information as reasonable and appropriate to public school districts, county agencies, boards and commissions, and to residents of Hamilton County. And now I'd like to turn it over to Kathy Schwab.
Thanks, Pat. I serve on the safety committee along with Mary Gartner, Quinn Kelly, Isabel Limbradini, Claire Mang, Dia Prakash, and Letitia Tiana Vasav. Our committee is made up mostly of girls, and the girls really wanted to focus this year on gender-based violence because they know all too well that sexual harassment is an unfortunate part of the climate in middle and high school, unfortunately middle school as well. According to the Office of Civil Rights, complaints involving sexual violence at the K through 12 level increased by 277% between the years of 2011 and 2016. And as of 2016, nearly half of the office's investigations for Title IX violations involved K through 12 schools. 47% of those were sexual violence issues. 70% of women in America face street harassment before the age of 14. And as reported by the Centers for Disease Control, 57% of teens have friends who have experienced dating violence, and 33% of teens in abusive relationships do not even tell anyone. 23% of all females report first experiencing partner violence before the age of 18. So all the interviews that our safety committee conducted found that each of the interviewee either experienced or knew someone who had experienced gender-based violence, including middle school students, which was really disturbing. This research that they did demonstrates that adolescents are at a very high risk of becoming sexual harassment, even perpetrated more by their peers than by adults and teachers. It also shows sort of a long-term issues around self-esteem, around consequences with emotionally and educationally decreased productivity and absenteeism at school. This is really not acceptable. So I'm going to turn it over to Dia, who will talk about the actual work that the committee did.
So we've come to recognize that there's often a gap in communication. Like, where do the students go? Who can they talk to? And is it their fault? So our committee wanted to see resources readily available so that people are not confused about what to do. We want educators and administrators to talk freely as to the problem to destigmatize the issue. We want girls to arm themselves not only with information, but if there are witnesses to something out of line, they know exactly what to do. First, it would be imperative to inform the schools of all of the resources available outside their district for students to utilize in the event that the situation must be approached externally. We could provide this in schools via flyers, posters, and other county standardized methods in order to ensure uniformity throughout. Second, educators must provide all students with accessible resources within the building and must make them well known. The fact is that this is a touchy subject, and that in itself is a factor in the stigma. And so the more prominent the information is, we believe the less harassment will actually occur. And so it's a win-win situation. All the students must be informed of exactly what protocols there are to follow if something were to happen, and should not feel like the information has not been communicated efficiently. And so, yeah, this can be done using school-wide presentations and other methods we listed above to ensure that everyone is aware of the proper protocol. Finally, it's vital that students not feel alone and that school counselors or designated adults are labeled as someone a girl or anyone else experiencing gender-related violence or harassment can go to in the event of an incident and feel no worries about doing so. So next, my friend Isabella Lamberdinas will talk about our recommendations.
Thank you, Dia. So based off of our research and what we've done this year, we have come up with the following recommendations. Number one, support the recommendation to the school districts that they implement free programs from appropriate community experts and providers to educate girls and educators on how to address gender-based harassment and assault. Number two, use the county social media to post once a month on the topic of gender-based harassment. And finally, number three, annually revisit the social media campaign created by the safety subcommittee that lives on the county Instagram account. I want to thank you, and I'm going to turn it over to Valerie Boykins for the Pay Equity Committee.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bella. Thank you, commissioners, for your attention this evening. As Bella said, I'm Valerie Boykins, and along with Tina Macon, Lauren Bishop, Vanessa White, and Patricia Roby Keller, we represent the Pay Equity Subcommittee for Women and Girls. The need to address pay equity has never been so urgent. While pay inequities have been discussed in the past, the current reality has made this disparity even more relevant with an increased need for action. While pay inequities have been well documented, this has been amplified by our current reality, the COVID-19 pandemic. This past March 24th, which was designated as Equal Pay Day, the PayScale compensation software and data company released a survey. And this survey showed that for every $1 that a white male earns, an Asian female earns 95 cents, a white female earned 82 cents, an African-American female earns 77 cents, and a Hispanic female earns 76 cents. In Ohio, the pay gap is even greater. For every $1 a white male earns, a white female earns 80 cents, and an African-American female earns 66 cents. Thinking about this in regular terms, when you go to the grocery store to purchase a gallon of milk and estimate the gallon of milk costs $1.50, there is no gender or race discount given to you at the checkout counter to purchase that $1.50 milk. Now more than ever, women need equal pay for equal work. The Pay Equity Committee conducted an informal survey of women who work for Hamilton County employers representing a range of industry. Only 14% said they believed their employer has taken steps towards addressing gender and/or race-based inequities. Continued ignorance of this important issue is estimated to result in lost income of $500,000 for white women and upward of $1 million for women of color. It is important to note this has had a huge impact on families. Mothers are breadwinners in 50% of households. When mothers are paid less, they have less money for basic family necessities like rent, groceries, and school supplies for their children. Lastly, addressing the pay gap will benefit the entire community. It would also benefit our economy. By paying women fairly, the poverty rate could be cut in half and an estimated $512 billion, that's billion with a B, could be injected into the US economy. The equal pay commitment impacts everyone. So you're asking, how do we address pay equity? How can we help? I am so glad you asked me that. By partnering with our Hamilton County Commissioners, we are encouraging employers from 6 key industries: health, education, retail, banking, food service, and nonprofits to sign the equal pay commitment. By partnering with the Hamilton County Commissioners, we are encouraging those 6 key industries to sign our equal pay commitment. Now, at this time, I will turn it over to my colleague and friend, our fellow Commissioner, Tina Macon, who will share our recommendations.
Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Commissioners. Our recommendation include 3 action items. The Board of County Commissioners, we recommend, should sign the Hamilton County Equal Pay Commitment and encourage other employers in the county, as well as vendors that work with the county, to also sign the commitment. Employers from each of the 6 key industries headquartered or doing business in Hamilton County that include the areas of education, healthcare, retail, banking, food service, and nonprofits to also sign the equal pay commitment and encourage peer organizations to also sign the commitment. And finally, continue the pay equity research, provide employers with regular updates on best practices, and explore ways to educate working women and girls on pay equity, as well as empower them with the negotiation strategies. On behalf of the Pay Equity Committee, I would like to end by thanking you for your attention and also request that you lend your voice as well as your platform to address this urgent need. I'd like to now turn it over to Commissioner Driehaus.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you to all the commissioners. You guys can see why it's such an honor really to be part of this group. The work is remarkable and the recommendations are on point. So commissioners, the Commissioner Reese and Commissioner Summerall Dumas is what I'm meaning. So I know that was a lot of information. And before I go any further, I'm wondering if there are any questions for any of the members of the Commission on Women and Girls.
Thank you so much. I'll open it up to Vice President Alicia Reese if she has any questions or comments.
Thank you. I don't have any questions. I do want to commend the commission and this very thorough presentation. Thank you. I know all of you are volunteering your time and effort, but certainly making a major difference with all of the research and breaking it down easy for us to bullet points. So I just want to thank all of you. I know many of you who are on the commission, and I just want to thank you for your time. Also want to commend Commissioner Driehaus for putting together the Women and Girls Commission some years ago with a vision of making sure that women are not taking a back seat in Hamilton County. So I just want to thank her for that and thank you all for your work.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will just say, well, the presentation was awesome. It's obviously so much work has gone into this, and just a great program. And so anytime we can empower anyone, especially women, it just brings a joy to my heart. And so I thank also Commissioner Driehaus for coming up with this in 2017 and all the work that has been done. Just a fantastic presentation. And people think you have to get paid to do good work. And so as Vice President Reese was saying, everybody volunteered to do this because they were committed and knew that it would make a difference. So thank you all so much for this presentation.
Thank you. And just to be clear, and I appreciate the nice words, this commission has done all the work. They just plugged away. It was challenging because we could not meet in person, but they persevered, and I just am so grateful. So commissioners, you should have in front of you 5 resolutions, and Commissioner Summer Dumas, I will leave it to you as to how to proceed with these, but I will bring your attention to them because they, as you can see, are in line with the recommendations that the commissioners just read out after each of the committee reports. 4 committees, there are 5 recommendations or resolutions rather. And so Madam Commissioner, they're fairly self-explanatory. Sometimes we will adopt some of the resolutions tonight, the evening of the meeting. I know they got out to you a little late this time, but don't know if anybody's prepared to do that. We could hold them for a week and to give everybody time to take a look and then take action if that's what you would prefer. But I leave it to both of you. I obviously am familiar with the resolutions and ready to go. But as I said, they do reflect what you just heard. So I'm happy to walk through them if you'd like, or Madam President, I'll defer to you.
Thank you so much. What I'd like to do first is Vice President Reese, as we talked about this presentation and the resolutions, have you had time to review and are you prepared to vote on the resolutions?
Thank you, Madam President. I have reviewed them and I support them. I just had one question. I support the equal pay, obviously. Want to, and Board of Commission knows how I am about making sure not only do we follow it, but people that do contract work with us and our business follow the things that we put forward. But I just want to make sure, is that doable? I don't know if Jeff is on here for the outside contractors. Is that in this language? I know it was in the presentation.
Yeah, so if you read through the resolution, I'm just gonna, I'm looking at the now therefore be it resolved part. The first one is the Board of County Commissioners does hereby commit to signing the pay equity pledge, the commitment outline. And then the next one is that be it further resolved that the Board of County Commissioners encourages other employers in Hamilton County and our vendors that work with us to sign the commitment. So that would be the question, I guess. Do we have the authority to encourage those that work with us to sign the pay equity commitment?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was saying, Madam Commissioner, I totally support this. But I know that sometimes when I push the other vendors, we've been trying to do that with diversity and been told we could not do that. So I don't know, is it worded in a way that we would be able to do it? I support this, but I just wanted to make sure.
I would think that we have the right to encourage really anything. We're not mandating anybody to follow it. And really, this is the first step that the county sees it to be important enough that we pass it and that we will follow through to encourage other people to do the same in other agencies and companies and boards. And I don't think it's an issue with us passionate or not passionate, but we certainly can encourage other people to do the same. That doesn't put us in a situation where we're mandating anything. So I don't know if Mike is on here. There's Jeff. Okay. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, I've been here the whole time, just everyone knows.
Okay.
I think that as the commissioners have all said, I think that certainly a requirement. I should start by saying we have not passed this through the prosecutor's office for a legal review. But certainly the resolution is not worded as a requirement, which likely could run into some problems with the Ohio Revised Code in our procurement statutes. I think it all kind of depends upon what is encouraging and how does the county go about encouraging, and whether or not that is something that is held as some sort of a requirement for a vendor to obtain work with the county. I don't think that's the intent here. So my perspective as an administrator would be this is all about the way that it's administered, and that we could certainly encourage vendors to follow this without subjecting them to any requirement in the procurement process. So I'll defer to Mr. Friedman for any additional or any legal advisor counsel on this.
Can you hear me, Jeff?
I can, Mike.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, like Jeff said, we're not provided this to review it. I've had a chance here while we're talking to look through it. I think it's fair in what Administrator Ludo said, that there are no mandates in this resolution. They're aspirational, one that an employer would even sign it, an independent employer that contracts with the county would sign it. And then it appears to me that there are not hard mandates within the pledge so much but it's that the independent companies would commit to looking at this and to commit to trying to provide equal pay and to study equal pay within their organizations and other things. I don't think that there are any hard requirements on the employers within the individual pledge. But certainly I don't think that the resolution itself requires any company that would be doing business with Hamilton County to sign the pledge, nor is it a prerequisite for a county contract to sign the pledge. So, I can't give a full opinion on it, but if you're asking me my review here as having seen it, I don't see any problems with signing it tonight.
Okay, thank you both. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Madam President.
Uh-huh.
Yes, thank you, and I appreciate that. I'm ready to vote on the resolutions. I would prefer it to be mandatory, personally. And I wouldn't want us to pass a resolution and it just be put over to the side. I would like to see what can the county do as we talk about encouraging, what steps legally we can do, because I don't think it's right we would do any business with a company that has unequal pay for women. And I think we all kind of agree to that. So certainly willing to support the resolution, but would like to get a report back from the administration on what encouragement they can do so that we can maybe have that available. Commissioner Driehaus, maybe that could be available, that, here's what we're doing to encourage those vendors within whatever our legal parameters are.
Yeah, so the one thing I want to bring your attention to, so this is patterned after what's happening in Columbus. Columbus has a city commission on, I think it's just women, but we studied their pledge, and ladies, help me. I'm looking around at the committee, Valerie, I guess. So Valerie, I know you studied the Columbus pledge, and this is modeled after that.
That is correct. The Columbus pledge, and we wanted, Vice President Reese, we also wanted to mandate and put some teeth to it, but we knew that it would be some parameters and some difficulties getting it mandated. But that is definitely our ultimate goal, was to mandate this. But yes, this is patterned out of Columbus, Ohio.
Right, and so in addition to that, the pattern here is that if we were to vote on the resolutions and adopt the resolutions, then they go to the administration and the administration will report back. Jeff, I think it took a couple months last time to get the reports back as to how the administration was going to move forward with the intent of the resolution. So that's, I guess, the expectation here tonight as well, that while these resolutions could be accepted tonight, we will then get a report back from the administration as to how they're going to move forward with them.
Awesome. Thank you.
Madam
Thank you.
President,
Yes.
if I could just briefly to respond to Commissioner Dreehouse, yes, that's exactly the process. And just as it relates to the item that we're discussing right now, you might remember we had done a presentation on equity and inclusion a couple of weeks ago in staff meeting. And at that time, HR Director Frank Spataro had indicated that we do have it on our schedule this year to conduct an addition. We had done a pay equity study back in 2018. And we have it on the calendar this year to do it again, cutting across racial and gender lines by the end of the fourth quarter this year as well. So we'll certainly report back to you on the county's internal efforts and everything we can do as it relates to encouraging on an external basis as well.
Thank you. Great discussion. Thank you for all the questions and comments. So I'm going to go through.
Madam President, may I just interject one
Yes.
thing? As Jeff alluded to, we did a study with UC to evaluate pay equity at the county. That was one of the first recommendations of the Commission on Women and Girls back in the first iteration. And we found that we're actually doing okay. I think we're like 98 cents on the dollar. And so we're very proud of that, but we have to continue to review this to make sure that we continue to hold ourselves to a certain standard, and we've got 2 cents to go. And so I just do want to highlight that that is the power, ladies and girls, of what you've recommended, that the county will take action on these things. And that's one of the outcrops of it, is that the other thing that we recently talked about was the issue of domestic violence and working with women, helping women to try to get folks on those emergency runs that can help the women and kids that are in a bad situation. So that was also a recommendation of the Commission on Women and Girls. So I can't thank you all enough for all the work. So anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Madam President.
Oh, no, it's no problem. They've done a lot of work during this pandemic and kept it together. So we thank you. I'm going to go through the by leave items as they're listed on our agenda. So I'd like to make a motion to adopt by leave 2, which is a resolution supporting resources for gender-based harassment.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas,
Yes.
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Thank you.
Madam President.
Yes.
It's Commissioner Dreehouse. This is her commission. I normally second. I'm going to allow her to second so she could be on record second.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to make a motion to adopt by leave 3, which is resolution supporting menstrual equity in Hamilton County.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas,
Yes.
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to adopt by leave 4, which is a resolution supporting mental health access in Hamilton County.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas,
Yes.
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to adopt by leave 5, a resolution for Hamilton County Commission to adopt and promote homelessness resources.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas,
Yes.
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Thank you. And lastly, by leave 6, I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution directing the administration to support Hamilton County equal pay commitment.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas,
Yes.
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
All right. Congratulations. Thank you so much for all your work. And we're going to make sure that we do our part for sure. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Welcome to stay if you'd like.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, I went away.
Good work, everybody.
Okay. So we'll move on to our next regular, actually, no, we need to go to public comments. If there are any other public comments that are waiting to speak, either Jackie or Bridget.
Madam President, I do not see any public comments at this time.
Okay, thank you so much. So we'll go to comments and motions from our commissioners, Vice President Reese.
Thank you, Madam President. Staying with the issue of equity, Jeff had mentioned, I think, about 2 weeks now, I had a motion on equity. We had a presentation made, and there was some data that we received that was not flattering to any of us and showed that we needed a lot more work as it relates to contracts. Fourth quarter results, if you recall, one of the highlights was that the stadium's upkeep, we had spent $16 million and only 1,400 had gone to minority businesses. 0 had gone to women-owned businesses. And so, and there were some other alarming numbers as well. With that, I'm introducing a motion for some corrective action. And some of those things I've talked with the administration, some they mentioned, and I just wanted to make sure when people watching that just didn't release the data and we just kind of moved on. And so the things that I'm recommending for corrective action is to, 1, diversify all hiring and contract selection committees. We found out that some of the selection committees as it relates to jobs did not have diversity on them. So it's hard to get diversity if we have non-diverse committees making the selection for promotions and hiring practices. Number 2, make the Croson diversity study a top priority, move swiftly on the completion of the study so the implementation can begin. One of the things that was told to us was that we couldn't enforce the inclusion numbers until diversity Croson study is complete. Well, we're going to be voting on millions and millions. Every week we've got millions, and we can't keep letting millions go out the door without having minority and women-owned businesses included in the mix. So we need to move forward, and I'm happy to get the report from our administration that Croson study has gone on the streets and they'll begin the selection process. But it is important that it is a top priority and it has a sense of urgency because we're voting on millions of dollars that come from a diverse tax base. Next, that we work with our lawyers to see if the state of Ohio's set aside a 15% law for goods and services applies to our county since we are governed by the state's Ohio Revised Code. When I was president of the Ohio Legislative Black Caucus, one of the things we found is that in 1980, the Black Caucus had gotten a law on the books for 15% on set aside of goods and services, not construction, but goods and services. And we challenged that in 2012 and therefore had to be implemented. But since we are governed by the Ohio Revised Code, wanted to check and see what can we do and how that might apply and could help us be able to be more diverse in our goods and services. For example, our communications, we had spent about $500,000 $500,000 in the fourth quarter, and women-owned businesses, I believe, was at 0 and only almost $5,000 with minority businesses. But this could help us if we could use that law. And then also want to utilize the state of Ohio and the city of Cincinnati's MBE and WB certified business list. The state of Ohio contracts with the African American Chamber of Commerce to certify minority businesses. So they already have a list that has been certified. And WBE, the state of Ohio, has a contract through the Department of Commerce with the Greater Cincinnati Southwest Urban League. So they already have a list, and see if we could use that list So we don't have to spend our time trying to create a new list when these lists have been already fully vetted and certified by the state Women Business Enterprise Program and the Minority Business Program. So those are some corrective actions that I wanted to submit for the record here that we could look at. Some have they've started to work on, but others certainly could be included as we work toward corrective action for more equity and inclusion. So that's what I have for this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
No, I don't have anything in addition to just once again thanking the Commission on Women and Girls. And Commissioner Reese, I understand you got your shot today, so we're all vaccinated, ladies.
Right.
Very proud. Very
That's
proud
all
of the
right.
Commission.
Commissioner, they told me to keep doing this.
Yeah, 'cause it hurts, right?
All right. Yeah.
That's
So
all I
we're
got.
good. We're good to go. Okay. The only thing I have is just wanted to let those who are viewing know that the board continues to look at the additional monies that are coming down from the federal government. Hopefully we'll be getting the guidelines very soon, and that we will be getting the money. I'm hearing today also no later than around May the 14th. So we continue to be strategic and look at how we think those monies should be spent, and we will definitely involve the public to get their input. And I'm sure that Jeff will he may talk about the stakeholders meetings that will be taking place right before we have the public input. So I'm just really excited about that. And I just wanted to remind the other commissioners' offices about if you have any input as it relates to the budget, to submit that to our administrator no later than June the 1st. And that's all that I have. So I'll go to our administrator, Jeff Aludo.
Thank you, Madam President, and I'll try to keep this fairly well. Just as I said that, there's some noise outside of the building, and I don't want to be disruptive to the meeting. So please let me know if I need to do something with my volume.
Okay.
So I do have just one comment and then some by leaves today. Prior to the regular agenda, the comment, Madam President, as you indicated, is that we are preparing to kick off the stakeholder meetings associated with our use of American Rescue Plan dollars. I think the first of our internal stakeholder meetings occurs tomorrow. We had to divide each of the internal and external stakeholder meetings up into 2 different meetings, just because we have a lot of stakeholders. And it just wouldn't have been productive to include them all in one particular meeting. So the first of those kicks off tomorrow. We will continue that through the end of April and possibly into the beginning of May. We look to hold some public hearings as well through the board in May, with the goal of coming back by the end of May with a recommendation to the board on a spending framework for the American Rescue Plan dollars. And in the meantime, continue to monitor and track all the different additional pots of dollars that are coming down from the federal government as it relates to different aspects of the American Rescue Plan. So that is my one comment for this evening. I do have one by leave as well, which actually also relates to federal stimulus dollars. This actually relates to the CARES Act. But the board will recall that last week we did an adjustment to the CARES Act plan to move money to allow for the continuation of service through the day shelter currently being operated by Maslow's Army. By leave item number 1 in your agenda relates to the adjustment of the contract with Strategies to End Homelessness to allow for those dollars to move forward. So the CARES Act, the movement of the funds in the CARES Act had to happen first, and the movement of the money so that we could enter into the contract. And this allows us to execute that amendment to the subrecipient agreement with Strategies to End Homelessness to allow for the continuation for 3 months of the day shelter operated by Maslow's Army.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So we'll move then to that by leave and see if there are any comments or questions as it relates to that. Vice President Reese.
No questions at this time.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
No questions.
Thank you. Just a comment. I'm glad that we were able to do this to provide this additional monies. I did get a call from Kevin Finn, who wanted from the Strategies to Reduce Homelessness, who wanted to talk about monies and how they come in and what they do as it relates to the homeless. And I suggested that he get on our staff meeting, and so the residents can also hear what they do and how they do and where monies come from. In addition, I know HUD is sending down $200 million for homelessness to Ohio. I don't know how much we will get, but I'm just really hoping that we can come up with a more permanent approach. We can keep paying 3 months of rent and 3 months of this, but what type of approach can we think of strategically? And maybe we can discuss that with Kevin Finn as relates to the homeless population. So with that being said, I'd like to make a motion to adopt by leave 1, which is an increase of $135,000 for the day center.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas,
Yes,
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
So we'll go to our regular agenda items. The commission administration has this one.
Thank you, Madam President. So item number 1 on your regular agenda, this is a resolution authorizing a 4th amendment between the Hamilton County Board of County Commissioners and HCDC. This is the essentially the core agreement with HCDC to fund their basic economic development work and their role as the primary economic development entity for Hamilton County. As the board knows, HCDC is one of really 3 entities that carry out economic development work for the county. You've got HCDC, you've got READY, and you've got the Port Authority. But HCDC does that really core work that you would think of in terms of an Office of Economic Development. They implement all of our enterprise zones and CRA programs. They work with communities in the county to help strategize and consult on how to revitalize business corridors, things of that nature. They conduct business retention meetings for businesses throughout the county. Several years ago, the board had asked HCDC to come up with an idea for promoting the expansion of businesses that were in their 2nd stage of development, sometimes called economic gardening. The HCDC put together the Office of Innovation and Creativity, which they still fund partially through this contract. And they also do the other things as well, like running the SBA, an SBA loan program, and running the incubator for Hamilton County, which has been award-winning and so successful. So the contract amount for this year through the amendment is $900,000. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments, Vice President Reese?
No, I think this is pretty straightforward. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
No questions.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to adopt item 1.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas,
Yes,
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
thank you. Item number 2, Dinsmore.
Thank you, Madam President. So this, I believe Michael Dean is on.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm here.
Michael is on, so Michael is with Dinsmore. Commissioners, just very quickly, this is a healthcare conduit bond financing issue coming through the hospital commission of the county. I'm going to turn it over to Michael Dean with Dinsmore, who is bond counsel for the commission, to talk through the particular project. I did just want to let the board know and let the public know that we're talking about a refinancing and a new money issuance, which all told is probably in the $90 to $100 million range. But I want to emphasize the fact that this is not a direct county issuance. This is a conduit bond issuance that Michael will be talking about that does not involve the debt capacity of the county, does not impact our credit rating, et cetera. This is strictly a conduit issuance. So Michael?
Yeah, thank you, Jeff, and thank you, commissioners. So this is a matter we've brought before the board several times before in different aspects, different capacities. This is a resolution to approve the bond issue that's being done by the Hospital Commission. The Hospital Commission will issue bonds in its name and in some sense in the county's name. That will benefit TriHealth. TriHealth is trying to refund 2 series of bonds from 2017 that the county also issued to fix in some better rates. And that amounts to about $83 million at the moment. And then they're also looking at some new money financing as well within the county that will be in the area of $8 to $10 million. I think they've approved now up to 150 million. This is sort of a very large cap that they're looking at because things are kind of in flux with the market. And if there is an opportunity to take advantage of some good rates and finance some other projects, they would like to do that. Again, the Hospital Commission has approved this. The whole reason behind this for the commissioners who may not know is a federal tax law that requires the elected representatives of an area to approve the bond issue for a private entity such as TriHealth, which is a nonprofit 501c3 in this case. So the Hospital Commission is going to be issuing, but because the Hospital Commission is not a group of elected officials, we come to the Board of County Commissioners to seek that approval. And that allows basically TriHealth to access tax-exempt bond markets, which would generally provide them with a lower cost of borrowing. And the whole base for that 501c3 hospital organization, providing a public benefit. So Jeff, you summed it up well. I appreciate your help and the commissioners as well. And happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Well, Michael, I think one thing I want to say, that's a lot of money, even though it's not coming out of our coffers for us to approve the bond issue and can't even see your face.
So I certainly apologize. There's a lot going on here. Yeah.
Huh? What did you say?
No, sorry, just a busy evening here.
Yeah. Okay. I just had to say it. That's just how I am. It's like you keep saying 90, 100, 150.
I will say it's not going to be in my money. It's not going to be in my pockets either.
You could be a little 3-year-old guy, as far as I know. So anyway, but I'll just move forward with that. It would have been great to see your face. So Vice President Reese.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a couple of things that just so I understand, like you said, it did go very fast. And because I did have a chance to meet with Jeff ahead of time on this to get an understanding. This is basically the Hospital Commission has the opportunity to get bonds and not have to pay tax on the bonds through this commission. And then my understanding, this is their only purpose it's when you hear Hospital Commission, you think, you know, they're dealing with healthcare and those kind of things, but they are dealing strictly with capital projects for the hospitals that through this commission, the bonds would flow through. And there were just a couple of things. One, I wanted on our calendar to reflect that this is not a Dinsmore item, because it does make it seem like Dinsmore's getting the money. This is a Hospital Commission item. So I would like that corrected on the record, for the record, would help me understand. Second is the boards and commissions. I have been asking for some time, and I know it's difficult, but some of these people that are on here says that their expiration was up in 2019. I don't know if these are the same people or we have opportunities for some new people to be on there. I'd like to know that, because here we are, like you've indicated, we're going with hundreds of millions of dollars, and I don't even know if these are the people that are on this commission or not. So those are just two things that I wanted to highlight. Again, like you said, because this is my first time getting a Hospital Commission bond. And like I said, I wanted to clear that up, because I thought too, when I saw Hospital Commission, I thought it was something else. But I appreciate that explanation. So those are my only two comments for this item.
Thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
I don't have any questions.
So Michael, are they the current people on the commission? The ones that Vice President Reese brought up that had expired terms?
I'm not aware of the list, I guess, that might have been given to Commissioner Reese. I
Okay.
do have, and Bob Coogan, who sort of administers the hospital commission, certainly has a current roster of commission
Okay.
members.
Madam President, I'd like to get a current roster because this is on the Facebook, on our website. So,
Okay.
because I was trying to figure out when I saw it, I said, well, who's on here making these decisions to,
Right.
pass it and bring it to the board?
Jeff,
Okay.
would you like me to just shoot that over to you so you can distribute it, or do you have access?
Yes. Yeah. If you could, Michael, that would be great.
Yep. I will do that as soon as we're done here.
Okay, thank you so much.
So, Madam Commissioner, President, I do think the website is up to date. I do think there are some openings on the hospital commission. So just to provide a little bit of clarity, I was trying to remember at the end of the year, if we had some vacancies there, but I think what you see on the website is the current list.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam President. If you can let us know what the process is, because we've got people on here that ended in 2019. So I just thought it might have been an error.
Okay. All righty. Thank you very much. With no further discussion, I'd like to make a motion to adopt item number 2.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas,
Yes.
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, commissioners.
So item number 3, we have Mr. Beck is here.
Good evening, commissioners. Thank you. I have 2 items tonight. Item number 3 is a resolution determining the necessity for and concluding no land or property will be damaged, and that determining that the public conveyance and welfare results from the improvement of East Miami River Road and Harrison Avenue in Colerain Township. This is bringing you the plans, specifications, and estimates to allow us to go out to bid for this roadway improvement project. This is funded 50% by the Ohio Public Works Commission and 50% by permissive auto funds.
Thank you so much. I'll open it up for any questions or comments. Vice President Reese.
No questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
No questions.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I'd like to make a motion to adopt item number 3.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas,
Yes.
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Item 4.
Item number 4 is a resolution authorizing a joint agreement between Hamilton County and Miami Township for application to the Ohio Public Works Commissions for funds for the construction of improvements to Cliff Road from 2447 to 2665 Cliff Road. This is as you may recall, last week we brought you a couple agreements as well. This is another project that we applied for OPWC funding and were successful. And this agreement lays out who's responsible for what percentages. This project will be going to construction later in the year.
Thank you. Any questions or comments, Vice President Reese?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I just had a question. I know we have several of these type of agreements that come forward, and I think they're great. But let me ask you a question. How does this, play in terms of the increase that SORTA has? And I know they'll be looking at different roads, et cetera. How does that play in with what we're already doing?
Well, SORTA has just put out the call for projects. That funding source will be very similar to what Ohio Public Works Commission, these projects are. The funding scenario will be very similar. There'll be a rating process. Those projects will be rated from the ones that are applied for, and agreements then will be entered between the county if we're successful at getting them, and with SORTA. SORTA will actually be managing the funds as OPWC does for the Ohio Public Works projects.
got you.
Not
And-
sure if that answers your question or
Yeah,
not.
no, that does. And I was just wondering, and we may have some of these. I know you bring a lot of them and you've been doing a lot of work, a lot of partnerships, agreements that you put together. I just wanted to make sure we're able to expand them to, we have, obviously we represent villages, townships and cities. And just wanted to see if that allows us with this new sort of money allows us to expand, more, say Norwood has a project, we can do more than what we were already doing versus, it's not a replacement, but an expansion is what I'm.
You're absolutely correct. It's another pot of money for a similar set of projects so that we can apply to.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
I have no questions.
Thank you. I know, Eric, you have a list of areas that are you're going to improve for construction. Remember when I asked you a couple years ago about that list? You have a list for street improvements, just general construction improvements. Can you share that email to us?
Yeah, you mean our 2-year CIP program?
Right.
Yes. Yeah, I'll be
Okay,
glad to
would be
get that
great.
to you.
Fantastic. And on this item, Eric, what is the total cost of the project?
The current estimated for the Cliff Road is $499,400.
Okay, I couldn't remember what it was. Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to make a motion to adopt item number 4.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas,
Yes.
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. So we will move to our consent agenda items. Before we have discussion on that, I would just like to indicate under the consent agenda items that we are going to adopt, hopefully, or not. There's a purchase of a truck for planning and development. We have contracts for the Salt Robinson Supply Company. We also have an agreement between the Village of Silverton and the Environmental Services, and then 3 agreements with JFS for parent education, independent living, aftercare. There's also one to receive for the record, which is no objection by the sheriff for a liquor license in Springfield Township. So I'll open it up for discussion. Vice President Reese.
I have no questions for these items.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
No questions.
Okay. So at that point, I'd like to make a motion to adopt items 5 through 11 and receive for the record item 12.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas,
Yes.
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Thank you. Anything else coming before the commission?
No.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas,
Yes.
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Good